Dibawakan oleh penaja utama jelajah Jiwa SME, Unify Business, rakan digital pilihan anda. Welcome back to Niagaoni with me, Nabila Khalida, and right now we're in the segment of Jiwa SME and approaching the last series of Jiwa SME 2024, which will be held in Central ICT Shah Alam on the 25th, 26th and 27th. This weekend, basically, we want to dive into one of the important sector or segment, which is financial technology or fintech. And right now, joining me in the studio is one of the speakers for the last day on Jelajah Jiwa SME 2024 at Central ICT, which is from Swipey, the financial operations platform, which aims to transform the way SMEs keep the tabs on their spending. So joining me right now is Kalyana Mohan, the co-founder and also the CEO of Swipey. On his right is Rouvin Thiruchelvam, the co-founder and so CFO at Swipey. Thank you so much for joining me this morning in the studio for Niagaoni. How are you guys doing?
Thanks for having us, Nabila. Really appreciate. We're doing great. It's a good day. Again, thanks for having us.
And looking forward to the Jiwa SME, right?
Yes,
but
we
before that, we would like to have a discussion first here. Maybe you can share, both of you are the co-founders. So how do you start these financial platforms?
Well, maybe we'll start off with giving a little bit of background because that leads to why we're doing what we're doing. So my background, an engineer who stumbled into the finance function.
Wow.
And I was working with an American company called General Electric for 13 years. And part of that 13 years, the early part was predominantly finance, closing books. So as an engineer, I had to learn how to close books. But eventually, I was leading their digital transformation for the oil and gas business. Now, part of the digitalization effort was around people, process, and platforms. So focusing on how to get better outcome, better output, and ultimately increasing growth and revenue for the business. And in 2019, I decided to come back to Malaysia, be with family and friends. And at that time, I was working with friends and family with their businesses, and many of them said the same thing to me, Mohan, how do I grow my business? And during that time, while I was going to the data and figuring out, okay, how do I grow this business 5 times more, finance is always the go-to function, even in my earlier days and even that time, where we call it's a pulse of a business. So if you want to know what's happening and where to tweak to improve, finance is ultimately where you go to get your numbers. And when I was doing this and trying to help this business, I realized that the finance data entry, data point, the process were generally in tatters. They were not well organized. What would take you a day to get insight into which product line is good for you took us months to gather the data. And we couldn't make decision quick enough, couldn't make the right decision, things like which product line to focus. So that was, again, the moment where I said, wow, we need to change this. Then you supplement that by the, I guess, macro factor, which is businesses are digitalizing. They are moving faster than ever. What used to be 10% of your total company expense being on digital tools, now it's about 30-40%.
Correct.
Of marketing and CRM tools, like customer management tool, it's just increasing year over year. So as businesses are digitalizing, what we realized was the finance operation was not moving in the same pace. So Swipey was kind of born out of that, what I call frustration on my part, not able to help these businesses, but also noticing that in Malaysia and Southeast Asia and wider parts of the world, businesses are changing very quickly, and the traditional systems there to support it are not well suited. That's how we
Amazing. So starting from engineering background, moving into fintech landscape. What about you, Rouvin?
So thank you. Good morning, and thank you for having us. I also, like Mohan, started with the General Electric company, and I spent time there in different countries, and then ultimately came back to Malaysia as well, and I joined a banking group here. And it was quite interesting, transitioning from an MNC, coming back to Malaysia, and then looking at SMEs in the country. So I had about close to 7 years of running around Malaysia, looking, and not just in KL, you have to go to outskirts, industrial zones, and go and look for SMEs. These were SMEs that we could bank or back as an investment, and part of the process was doing due diligence on these SMEs. A variety in Malaysia, macam-macam ada kan. So it's quite nice to go and see the different industries that are out there. But one of the realizations that I felt and saw was that when you start to study these SMEs, whilst they've got very good product, they've got good sales team, marketing reach and so forth, I mean, they're trying very hard to do their best. The finance process is very manual, very takes a long time to close their books. They have difficulty in understanding their finance data, as Mohan mentioned, because it hasn't kept pace with the way businesses have managed themselves in their journey. So my realization was that, you know, having seen things at MNC level and having compared notes with Mohan over the period of time, that there's an opportunity here to help SMEs. When I moved on into a entrepreneurial journey, so Swipey is not my first startup. I was helping, basically started 2 other businesses together with some people, and these are all very digital businesses, right? And that was quite interesting to see, right? In you know, syarikat pemula, as they say, product is digital, pemasaran is digital, tetapi finance manual. You know, so I said, wow, so even for a digital business,
Started manual.
the processes are manual. So I said, okay, there's definitely something here that we can help to change and transform the way SMEs are run, starting with finance.
What year was that, if you don't mind me asking, when you see all the SMEs running still at manual?
For the last 10 years, to be honest. So I came back to Malaysia, it was 2009. And till, I guess the digitalization has really happened post-COVID, where everyone realized that, you know, yes, we've heard of the word digital, but only until COVID happened, nobody really did anything about it, and they were forced to transform. So I'd say the pace at which digitalization is happening has really increased.
Ever since COVID.
It's since COVID, but it's the tip of the iceberg. There's a long way more to go. So, you know, we are here to help businesses to achieve that outcome.
What we noticed was digital commerce, e-commerce platform, marketing agencies, those type of companies were on the rise, not only to serve the local market, also to serve the global market. There are multiple agencies, like marketing agencies, set up in Malaysia to serve US, serve Europe. So Malaysia became a nice hub for that, and like yet Rouvin pointed out, it was not keeping up to pace to the digital world.
And that leads to my next question. Kalyana, mungkin can you share on how the different kind of gaps that we see right now in this landscape, digital landscape, how is it different? How is it differ from the last 10 years? Is there any difference?
Digital landscape?
Yeah, the kind of gap.
So from now digitalization, I would say it's a must. Then the question is where you digitalize. That's question number one. Question number two, do you realize you need to digitalize? That's the other one. So where you need to digitalize let's take from a fintech landscape. For the last 10 years or 15 years, if not, it's been focused on a single point, which is around the payments. So e-wallet payment, QR pay, payment gateways. So very focused around the last mile transaction of funds from one person to another. But if you then translate that into a business, there are 10 steps before you make the payment and 10 steps after that you need to do. Like before you get a payment, you need to issue an invoice, you need to make sure it's the right customer. And if you're a larger business, you need to verify that the customer is good. If you're paying someone as a vendor, validate the vendor, bank details, even before you click the button, say pay. And after payment, you need to reconcile, make sure the receipts are there, the supporting documents are there to help you close the books on time. For one, when you close your books, you get insight into, hey, how much sales did you make? That's the first one. But eventually you need to close because you've got that regulatory submission to your LHDN. So where the transformation is happening, at least where we said it needs to happen, is let the boys who did well in the payment space, let them continue. But all the steps that no one is taking care of, and it's critical, is where Swipey steps in. So let us help you with all the rest, and we integrate with the payment methods so that it's a holistic approach into taking care of your finance function.
But at this moment, we do see that the rise of many other fintech solutions provider other than Swipey. I'm not mentioning names here. But so how do you stay relevant in this industry, and how do you stay ahead, and also how do you differentiate Swipey with other brands as well?
it's a good question. I think when we first started off, we told people what we do. They're like, oh, how is it different from A, B, and C? Without naming names again. So we focus less on technology, but we focus more on outcome. And we say, to achieve that outcome, what technology do I need to get there faster? And our outcome that we chase is simple. Help you close your books 5 times faster, save money by removing non-value added activity, and help you make the decision faster. Now, to achieve that is where we build technology around it, and that's how we differentiate, because we're so focused on that outcome, helping businesses get that outcome, that everything else kind of fits in place. So we feel, and we know, Swipey was the first in the country in 2022 to launch a corporate card solution for businesses, SMEs, and that technology at that point itself was pretty much advanced. And fast forward 2 years, we have functions to help your account payable, your management, we have vendors. We've gone so far ahead that we look so different from 2 years ago. So that, I guess, speed of morphing into this finance operating platform will continue, and we'll continue differentiating from there.
You have anything to add?
I think the other thing is from what our customers say to us, Swipey has got very good customer service, and that is something that is we're quite proud of, and we constantly keep a pulse on. So, for example, we always do customer surveys every few weeks to see what our customers are saying, and we score that and we track it, and the team is on point with that. So, I would say maintaining a focus on the customer and making sure that they achieve certain outcomes, and making sure our customer service and success team are there to support is another differentiation factor for us. The other thing is, people always ask us, why us? Why are we doing this? And it actually lends to our background, right? So both Mohan and I, being ex-finance professionals, having seen best practices by working with large MNCs before around the world, having seen different industries, understand the pain points, we were able to take and distill our experience into a simple product and service, and we call it Swipey, which is we think it's a nice name, and it, it's an approachable name, it's an approachable business, and it helps make finance fun for non-finance people. Most businesses, when they start a business, they don't think about having the best finance team, right? They want the best product, the best sales team, they want to have good pricing, good reach, and so forth. And we felt that finance piece was missing. So we actually help business owners who may not be very good in finance to get to an outcome as Mohan described just now. And that we feel is where we are focusing foremost, and will help us to get there faster and win more market.
For Swipey, considering that we are focusing on SMEs, do you have a specific qualifications or criteria that you're looking into for SMEs?
Yeah, so we do, like SME in Malaysia is a very wide market, and for us, where we've focused on what we call modern SMEs, but you can actually break it down even more. And these are basically businesses who are, let's call them digital commerce. So any business today that is selling a product or a service online, that's a good target market for us. Digital marketing agencies as well. As Mohan mentioned, they're not only servicing clients in Malaysia, they actually service clients globally. So that's quite interesting. So those are 2 customers that we have focused on. But having said that, Swipey today, after 24 months, we have thousands of businesses on the platform, which are beyond those 2 segments. We cover large retail chain formats as well. We support a few government agencies along the process. So it's quite
not intentionally. As a startup, we are focused. Let's make sure we put all resources in one area. But I guess the offering and the product that we have and the customer support has also enticed other. So like Rouvin mentioned, government agencies also use us, but they were not our first target customers at all. But they've heard of us and they like what we do, and we onboard them as well.
I mean, it's been a positive journey for both of you, for Swipey especially. So that brings to my next question, where throughout this whole experience of building this fintech solution provider, it's when we talk about how we can transform, actually digitalize all these businesses, especially SMEs. So what kind of rewarding, also challenging experience that you faced so far building this Swipey?
We can talk about the challenges. It's always easy. So when we first started, it was who's Swipey, who's Mohan, and who's Rouvin. We were nobody. So I guess the first few months of the journey is building credibility and building some brand awareness. That's, I think, always going to be challenging, and you continue doing that by making sure that your product is good, your customer support is good. So you build that credibility, and we feel we've achieved that to somewhat extent. 40% of our customers today are all referral. So when someone's telling someone about us, and we're getting through that. The other challenges generally for any startup, any business, is getting the right culture, getting the right team in place. There's only so much Mohan and Rouvin can do in the 24 hours they have in the day. Yet if you want to run super fast, you need to get a team that's running with you. So getting the team right is always going to be the difficult challenge. But if you focus on getting the right guys in place and girls in place, then you can achieve the outcome. So I guess that also leads to some of the benefits, I guess the pros that we've got. We do have an excellent team supporting us. They're able to see the vision. They are able to act even before we say a word. So those are the outcomes we'd like to see, and the culture we'd like to see, and we're seeing it.
How big is the team now?
We are a team of 15 individuals, including me and Rouvin. So we are a small team.
Small but mighty.
Yeah, it's I in many. Many double hatters enjoy their work, enjoy what they do. So we are able to execute at 120% because of that love and joy that we have.
You have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think Mohan covered some of the challenges. I think some of the rewarding factors have been, when you get outcomes for your customers, it's really rewarding for us. And so, as Mohan mentioned, building the product and service and getting the team around it has been great. But how does that translate to outcomes for the business? And so when I'll give you an example. Like, we've got a client of ours that's a digital marketing agency, and they started a couple of years ago. And within 24 months of building their business, they suddenly realized that they hit an operational roadblock.
Oh, wow.
Right? And they had bottlenecks in the way they were building out the business, and they could not grow to the next level. So some of the issues there were they didn't understand which product was giving them the right margin. They didn't understand which customer is a profitable customer to serve. And so when they don't have those decisions or data points to make those decisions, they do not know where to focus. Right? And unfortunately or fortunately, all that data actually sits within the finance team. Right? So when we were able to understand the way they were running their business, we were able to help them by saying, hey, here's Swipey, we can help you implement a few things, and here are some best practices to implement along your way to evolve or transform your company. Fast forward, today they have digitalized their finance processes. They have a lot more visibility on their cash. They can make better decisions that will affect businesses' outcomes. And as a result, right? Obviously, people want to know what the results.
Correct.
This business has grown 3 times since we got involved with them, and they've saved about 100 man-hours a month in terms of cost saving. So that to me is a really awesome outcome, and it really inspires both Mohan and I and the team to do more. So yeah,
Then the question always is, if I can grow this company 3x, what can I grow this company 30x? So I always want to push the boundary, push the envelope a bit
Always
more.
the next thing. And I believe that's one of the many success stories that you shared about with Swipey. But in the future, moving forward, do you have some kind of plan to introduce innovative features or services that you plan to introduce for upcoming years under the plan of Swipey itself?
From a product point of view, I would say our roadmap is 2 years ahead.
Every 2 years.
Meaning we are looking 2 years ahead and saying, we need to incorporate XYZ functionality to achieve that goal that we mentioned. So we are consciously working on improving the product. I remember one of the first conversations we had with a potential customer and an investor. They're like, so when do you stop building? I said, we never stop building, because the route to progression never stops. You always continually improve. So we never stop. So in that point of view, we said, yes, there's a lot of functionalities that we are working on. many of them are related to that goal, which is how do I help you close your books faster? When I can do that, how do I unlock insight for your business so you can make better decisions? That primary goal, we then automate all the processes, underlying processes, so we can achieve that goal. So there are operational ones which now are expedited by the incorporation of artificial intelligence, and we are doing that too, where, like Rouvin pointed out, one of my goal for somewhere in the middle of next year is for a business owner to go to their finance tool, Swipey, and ask questions like, hey, what was my last 6 months spent? Where have I spent the most? Which vendors increased their cost or by how much? Ask these questions that I remember our CFOs used to ask us when we were in GE, and we used to scramble and getting data, spend a week to come up with one PowerPoint presentation about.
Yep.
And
I can imagine that.
So the goal
hassle.
is how a non-finance person can get these insights from their finance analyst, which is Swipey. It's ultimately the goal, and we are about 6-7 months away from getting to that kind of functionality. But having said that, the product's always going to evolve. There's going to be a lot more stuff they're going to incorporate.
I mean, we do have AI right now, AI automations and all these IoTs. It's just getting faster. Now we have Industrial Revolution 5.0 right now.
Correct.
I couldn't catch up, but that's the reality right now. And with the growing interest in digital banking and also financial inclusion, how does Swipey aim to contribute or to actually expand to the undeserved markets?
Yeah, so thank you. That's a great question. Again, digital banking is something that we knew was on the cards when we first started Swipey, and we said to ourselves, when the time the banks are launched, we will be right there with them, and we will actually be complementary to the digital banks. When you think about what we are doing and the outcomes of businesses, we basically help them with their finance processes and getting basically better at running their business from a finance point of view. Now, when your books are in order and you have data that is real time, you can then basically go and approach different finance institutions, digital bank being one of them, to seek further funding to grow your business. And our outcomes for the business allows them to access funding faster, and it ideally should be cheaper as well because of the quality of the data. And so that the banker on the other side who's assessing the company has a lot more confidence and clarity in terms of what this business is really about, and it can assess the risk and therefore price the loan accordingly for the business. So with digital banks, we feel that it's very complementary, and we will be supporting our clients to access funding.
So far, do you guys have any collaborations with, for say, strategic partnerships with other financial institutions, or?
We do. We work closely with PDP lenders and banks as well, including the digital banks, to essentially do what Rouvin has described. We do it a little smaller scale today with a bunch of customers, and we do that. The collaboration has shown a lot of positive outcomes, which is why we're very positive of extending this further in 2025 and reaching the goal that Rouvin mentioned. And the collaboration also extends beyond just the banking funding providers from a private point of view. We've also worked with government-linked enterprises where funds are then provided to companies with Swipey being the platform it is used. From the funder's point of view, clarity and insight into the business is the one. The other that many grants kind of look at is governance, ensuring that the funds are utilized at the right place. Swipey's finance operating platform is able to also provide that security and governance layer if with it. So we also manage to see benefits from that and likely to explore that further too.
Amazing. And we're almost at the end of the discussion, unfortunately. So last one, perhaps looking at the broader fintech trends, how do you anticipate the industry evolving, and how is Swipey preparing for that future shifts in the future? This is for both of you, by the way.
So, okay, so I'll take it step by step. I think the technology landscape is changing really fast and is moving really quick. So fintech being one of those technology is also facing that. However, fintechs are generally in the regulated space. For 9 out of 10 they are. So the speed is often hindered or slowed down because of regulatory component, and for right reason. The last thing you want to do is put your money where it's not regulated and it's not secure. So the regulators play a really critical part in slowing things down so people can take a deep breath and go like, hey, is this the right thing to do? So while that component is speeding, the peripheral ancillary components, like I mentioned, closing your books, okay, getting your receipts in order, that part can grow fast without the regulatory component. So we do see that accelerating. The artificial intelligence or AI component of this, applied on a finance context, it's still growing, and we find that that's gonna be a game changer for many businesses, like the application I described earlier, and we think that's going to be growing fast as well. That's my point of view in terms of how fintech is going to take.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree, and I think we are very early in our journey of digitalization for businesses in using fintech services such as Swipey. So there's a lot to do. There's a long journey ahead. There's a lot of awareness and education that comes with the process. I think one of the silver linings of COVID is that people are already not just thinking about it, they are actioning on it, and we see it from the growth numbers that we have. That it's very encouraging in one direction. The question that we always have is how do we do faster? How do we do more with the resources that we have? So I think it's exciting times ahead. Like any tech industry, or there's always going to be bumps and challenges along the way.
Of course.
But the direction is quite clear as to where it's going. So it's going to be quite.
I might want to add, at least the last 1 year, 2 years, there's been a different perception of Malaysia and what opportunity Malaysia has.
Yes.
The last 6 months, we've actually noticed it when we talk to potential investors, we talk to guys who are looking to Malaysia. Completely different lens, and so that's positive for us. Being two Malaysian founders starting in Malaysia, and we were really, I guess we were strong-hearted about this. We have to start in Malaysia, have to be based in Malaysia, and that's kind of paying off.
I mean, do you even consider? Do you have any consideration moving outside Malaysia?
From day one, we knew we were going to be a global or regional or global business. But we always wanted to have our headquarters in Malaysia.
Amazing.
And that's really given for two reasons. One being Malaysian, close to home. But the other was Malaysia is a sizable market that user behavior, buyer behavior is closer to other part of the region. So if you can find success in Malaysia, you're likely to find success in other parts versus starting from an extremely efficient or effective country, region where the behavior is extremely different. Then it's not reflective of what you're going to go sell in 2 years from now. So that was one of our driving factors to say, stay in Malaysia, let's learn as much as possible, let's win in Malaysia and get 20,000 customers, 30,000 companies using us before we branch out.
I like the optimism. I mean, lately we've been seeing the robust growth and also positive trajectory in the economy of Malaysia right now. So I wish you all the best for both of you, and thank you so much, Kalyana Mohan, the co-founders of Swipey, and also Rouvin. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for sharing your insights. We've run out of time already, and you can find this whole discussion on all of our social media platforms and astroonmoney.com. And thank you so much for watching. Dibawakan oleh penaja utama jelajah Jiwa SME, Unify Business, rakan digital pilihan anda.